Guys, welcome to another episode of Mahjong Talk. I'm your host Peter Vong. If you're new to the channel, considering a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated on my latest videos. Okay, so let's get started right now. Okay, pick an East game. And today's episode I want to talk about mainly selfishness and selflessness. Now, selfishness and selflessness, they have been big topics in human history for a long time. And sometimes from our favorite media or from our own experience, we sometimes lose the differentiation between selflessness and selfishness. And I've been thinking about this for a while, and the one thing I would like to comment on is that basically it's kind of funny how selflessness and selfishness, they all involve the self in some way. So let's start off with that. That's the obvious thing. It has the word self in both words, but one word means that you're totally stuck thinking about yourself, while the other one is that you're stuck thinking about others. Now, I use the word stuck because I think this is where people can sort of differentiate between the two, but it also shows that they have similarities. And I think what I'm getting at is that I think selfishness and selflessness, they're both one of the same thing, which is the self. And I think it's a projection of the self in a way. So in selfishness, we know that the person is just all about themselves. They're all about what they want to pursue, what they want to get, and they will do anything what it takes to actually get that specific thing, whether it be a goal or whether it be just an object or something in that domain. Now, when it comes to selflessness, thinking about other people and putting their needs before your own, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, but that desire to actually want something for yourself, but it's projected upon others. So what makes others happy makes you happy, in a way. And I think this is what builds really great characters in anime or movies or dramas or whatever medium of media you like to watch. And let's see here. Let's go with this. And the thing of it is that I don't think people talk about it as much. We talk about selfishness and selflessness as if they're two different things, when in reality they actually are amalgamation of probably one thing, and that's basically the person's personality, how they view the world, and their own belief systems, and it explains a lot about a person. Let's go with this, and yeah, I'll do that. And the thing is that I think selfishness and selflessness actually explain a lot about a person. Ooh, nice. So what do I mean by that? Is that you can see a person's intentions based on their own selfishness and selflessness. Let's take an anime, for example. Recently I've been watching Fruits Basket, the reboot Fruits Basket, because I remember watching the old one when I was in high school. No, I don't think I'm gonna take that. And let's take the main heroine, Toru. Now, Toru, she is a likable character because she is completely selfless to the point where it seems like she's selfless to a fault. And I love how the anime basically illustrates this, because it really shows that she's willing to give her life for others, but at the same time she does it to the point where it actually debilitates her. And if you're a friend, if you know a friend that's like that, you would tell them hey, you got to concentrate on yourself a little bit, otherwise you're gonna break and you're gonna basically Like, you're going to feel as if you're totally burnt out. And I think a lot of people try to be that. They try to be this person that strives to put selflessness in front of selfishness. But I think a lot of people, I think we've stigmatized the word selfishness as a negative thing, when in fact it's actually a neutral thing. There are times when you have to be selfish at times. And there are times when you have to be selfless. But the problem is that I think people are worried about when they use the wrong thing. When they use selfishness, when they should have been using selflessness. And they're worried about using selflessness when they actually should have been implementing selfishness. And what I came to the conclusion is that everything is a gauge. It's all a gauge. And the thing of it is that selfishness and selflessness, they're not two sides of sides. They're not two different sides that is disconnected by a border. They're actually a gauge. It's a gauge mechanism. Just like how you can view things negatively and how you can view things positively. So the amount of positivity. Ooh. Okay, that's not too bad. I just have to maintain this first place, this first place spot. Hopefully I can do that. Oh. I think I'm gonna go for an all simple hand again for this. Hopefully I can deal it. I'm still in first place, so it's good. And yeah, selfishness and selflessness, not many people think of them on the same spectrum, but you have to treat them as in the same spectrum, because your friends, when they see you being too selfless, they want you to be selfish at times. And when they see you being too selfish, you have to be selfless. So it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act within life. And I think a lot of people worry about choosing the wrong side and causing conflict because of that decision. And also some people worry about being too selfless as being a pushover in life, while people view being too selfish as being too entitled in life. And these are the two words that we come to fear, I suppose, because we don't want to be a pushover, because we don't want people pushing us around and trying to force their own opinions or their own intentions on us. But we also don't want to be entitled to the point where we think we can't do any wrong, that our arrogance are blinding us from the actual reality that we're causing pain or suffering or any type of chaos that affects the people around us. And it's a tough call. And making decisions, whether it be selfish or selfless, is never easy. It's never easy. And that's when you have to deal with the conundrum of emotions that come with every decision you make in a particular event in your life. But always note that those mistakes that you make, whether they be selfless or selfish, they're just one small tiny pebble in the river of time, putting a little mystical flair to that, But time is like a river. You can part the river, and you can look at your mistakes in the river. You can see like those little pebbles that are your mistakes in the river, and then they just don't float. They don't float with the river. They just sink to the bottom. Or maybe they do, but they only float. Let's get rid of this first. The pebbles, your mistakes, they only float if you make them hollow enough to float down the river with you. And usually life is all about repairing those mistakes, repairing those, life is all about getting rid of those pebbles from the river. You have to pick out every little pebble that's like there. Put it automatic, so that way I can just hopefully get my tile. So 3 and 7 of circles. Hopefully I can get this. That way I can get more points. And the game can move on. But then again, I'm a dealer, so it will go back to me if I win this one. Yeah, because that's what life is all about, because this is why people go to therapy, because they basically reflect. And sometimes the pebbles that are in the river that are floating with you, they were not placed by you. They were not thrown in by you. They were probably like caused by an event, like whether it be through your parents or through the people that you thought were your friends or just toxic people in general. And it's really difficult to find those pebbles sometimes, because there could be so many pebbles that you have to take them out, and that totally creates a dam in your river. Or the pebbles are just so deep in the river that they probably are just flowing with the river, but they're like they're not even on the surface. Ooh. Will I get my tile now? That's the question. Someone's waiting. Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically, we have to clean out our river, just like how we cleaned up the earth. We have to clean up our own river within ourselves, within our own river of time. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get my tile. I think I'm just going to be gaining some points. Oh. At least I got 1,000 points, though. Okay, so we're going to repeat these three. I'll discard this. Yeah, and the thing of it is that like cleaning up your mind, cleaning up your soul, is always going to take a lot of hard work. And you have to take as much time as you need to clean that up. Like, filter out the mind of all the negative stuff that you've told yourself as a child. And it's never easy to do that, because you have to go back and see where were the most painful moments of your life. And then you have to look at them. It's like envisioning yourself going back in time, and then you see yourself as a crying child, and then basically you have to embrace that child and like tell that child it's okay. You know, whatever you did or whatever mistake you did, it's all going to be okay. And usually mistakes occur because of our own internal emotions. And sometimes those emotions, like as kids, we don't know whether they're selfish or selfless. And sometimes as kids, we can't differentiate between the two. This is the reason why kids make a lot of mistakes, and this is the reason why some kids seem selfish and some kids just seem like really good kids, when in fact they're very miserable and broken inside. You know, like a kid can't be totally selfless. At the same time, a kid cannot be totally unselfish. You know? Because kids, like, you know, kids, when they start feeling their emotions are so intense that their selfishness kind of comes out, because they don't want to feel this negative emotion anymore, because they don't know if it's normal. And, you know, as adults, we grow up and then we start to learn that these negative emotions are normal, but sometimes we learn the wrong lessons when it comes to actually understanding these emotions. So what I mean is that we look at emotions and then we think, oh, negative emotions. We have to filter that out. We have to basically block it, or we basically have to muzzle it so it doesn't plague us. But in my personal opinion, I think that's the wrong way to go, because when you think about emotions take control of you when you block them out or muzzle them. The only way that emotions don't have a massive power over you is when you're able to let the emotions flow and gradually let them dissipate on their own. So in other words, you let the pebble float with the river, but you let the river corrode the pebble, if that makes any sense. So you let the pebble flow in the river, but you let the river shape the pebble. I know it sounds like very mystical mumbo jumbo when I say that, but at the same time, that's how your mistakes and that's how your past kind of can affect you. You basically have to shape your past. You have to shape your mistakes and shape them into something positive. But this means you have to face it. You have to face those harsh lessons. You have to face what it was that basically plagued you in the past, and what basically is haunting you in your mind and turning into some sort of negative thought in your head. And this what goes into how should I say? This goes into the fact. Ooh, nice. 2 dragon hand. I like that. So far, I'm doing pretty well in this game. But I can't get too arrogant because it's still East 3. And when it's East 3, East 4, a big strike can happen. Yeah, and basically, I think and sometimes we have mistakes that are so huge that they overwhelm us. And this is why people go to therapy, because sometimes their mistakes are buried so deep, or their mistakes are just so unbearable that they have to talk to somebody. And that's fine. That's because everybody has a way of healing. You know, sometimes we can't heal ourselves. Sometimes we need someone to help us find a way to heal. Now, I say find a way to heal, not just heal us, because it's not like going to a medical doctor and basically physically they give you a prescription that basically allows you to eventually get better. I mean, that's what happens when you feel it physically, but when you feel it mentally, it's different. Because when mentally, your mind has to find that path that makes sense to you in order for you to better understand how to view whether it be a mistake or whether it be just a cringy part in your past, and you basically taking hold of it and basically saying, okay, how can I shape this to make this beneficial to me so I can laugh about it when I'm older, you know? And I think it's true what older people say is that when you look back in your past, you begin to think that it's not a big deal anymore. But the only way it doesn't become a big deal is if you shape it yourself. And that involves hard work. That involves hard work as well. I mean, it took me all the way up to age 29 to realize, you know, maybe the stuff in my head is not really my reality. Maybe it's just all in my head. And that's hard to dispel. Some people go on life without knowing that. And it's unfortunate. I would always remember this quote from from the Harry Potter films, from the Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's what Dumbledore, the headmaster, said to Harry. Don't pity the dead, pity the living. You know? Because we all, alive, we have so much stuff to deal with that like when you pass on, you don't have to worry about it anymore because you're no longer alive and interacting with the physical world. You know, let me just take a little drink of water here. And all you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have made mistakes in your life, and you basically feel like all those mistakes are the biggest thing that happened to me. And, you know, why did it happen to me? Why did I do that? Why did I do this? And we all are going to make mistakes, but sometimes people like to guilt trip us on the mistakes that we've made, which is not great, which is never. I don't approve of that, because I think it also goes into things like shaming people. We humans love to shame people a lot, especially towards the people that wronged our friends or family. Because what I think people don't realize about shaming people is that it's also a sense of entitlement that people do that. Because there's a sense of entitlement that, okay, this person did wrong and everybody doesn't like this person. So, like society or people in general, they feel like they're entitled to basically say, you did wrong. You know, you should feel ashamed of yourself. You should feel bad. You should feel guilty for the rest of your life. And I think that also goes into the selfishness part, because we are being selfish, but we delude ourselves in thinking we're being selfless. So this is why I don't approve of shaming people. Even if they did something completely egregious, if they have been put to justice, like if if they're sent to jail and, you know, they found guilty by the jury, fine. And some people don't want to feel redemption for that. Like they don't feel guilt because the selfish part of them is trying to protect them from mentally uh, going into that mental state where they know they have to feel guilty and they can feel that pain of that guilt. And this is why, people like that go to jail, they have, especially like some serial killers, they basically put up this facade that basically like, oh, what you say doesn't affect me, or what you say is total BS because I didn't do those things. They push that away from them in them because they've done so many horrible things. But if they view it as horrible things, then it would totally destroy them. It would totally destroy them mentally. And that's fear. That's based on fear. They fear a feeling that. I mean, but what about the people that don't feel empathy? That I can't really answer because I do know what empathy feels like. At the same time, that's something I'm kind of curious about. They probably just don't feel anything, which is probably worse. And also there are some people that are narcissistic as well. But I don't know how those people feel because I've never gone through those type of states. At least I don't think so. This hand is pretty difficult to navigate. I probably might have to make a mess out of this. But yeah, I think selfishness and selflessness in general, they're just an amalgamation of what makes us us. And it's always going to be a tough call on which one you act upon. Sometimes acting on selfishness is not as bad because sometimes it could just be that moment where you just actually stand up for yourself and you actually allow someone to be enlightened to a truth that you have come to realize. And selflessness could be kind of a double-edged sword because you're putting others' needs before your own. And sometimes that could be a bad thing because people can take advantage of that. I've experienced that. It's never fun. And I'm pretty sure some of you have experienced that as well, especially if you're already working in like whether it be the corporate world or just in society in general. Okay, so I'm at first place so far. Oh, this person's a dealer, so that means the game continues. That means they still have a chance of stealing either another person's points or my points. Yeah, so I want you guys, what I want you guys to take away from this is that selfishness and selflessness are always going to be a part of you. There's some good sides of both. There's some good sides to being selfish at times, and there are bad sides of becoming selfish. There are good sides of being selfless, but there are also bad sides of being selfless. And I'm still navigating that as well. I'm still navigating on how I can better know which one to use, which gauge I should be at a certain moment in time. It's always going to be a tough call. It's always going to be a tough call. But that's why if you have friends, your friends will know which one was the wrong one that you went with because they will observe your actions if they're around you. Or if you explain it to them. Sure, you're explaining it from your point of view, but when you explain it in your point of view, try to take a step back and try to think about what kind of emotions was the other person going on in their head when, whether you were being selfish or selfless at that moment. Because like one good example of being selfless is when we just go to work. We just go to work to basically, fulfill our duties. It's also selfish because we were trying to get a paycheck. I'll discard this. But it's also a little bit of a selfless thing because we go to a job that we just that can possibly make us tired and exhausted, just so that not only do we earn a paycheck, which is the selfish reason, but so that we can also help an employer who basically needs our help to, further their business and further their own income. try that. There's 2 4s out. I might have to rearrange this hand eventually. Hopefully I can get some tiles that can help me change it around a bit. That's not good. No. Ooh, this is a risky one. Okay, good. Temporary footy 10, that's not bad. After this person goes, south. Okay. Well, technically I am ready, so I can just click the... Oh, lucky I did. Lucky me. Okay. Well, I actually got first place in this game, guys. I think the positive vibes you guys gave me is coming. Hey. Not bad, guys. I got first place. If you guys have been keeping track, leave in the comments down below how many times I get first place whenever I play a game with you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my main screen here. Back here? Yes. Okay. So, I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. If you like what you saw, consider a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated on my latest videos. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to actually pop in and maybe have a chat with me, probably engage with a game with me, you can hit the Newbridge Discord server. Okay, guys? As always, everyone is precious. You're as precious as everyone else. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.